Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Hey Guys. Alright, so I'm going to go through some of the tools on Onshape. We're still in Onshape, and I'm not really going to make a thing. I'm just going to show you how to use these tools and where they're located. Alright, so the first thing I want to show you is extend and trim line. So when I'm in Onshape, normally it's going to be, you're going to see this to begin with. But let's say that I created this and this was all supposed to be closed in, right? And I kind of messed up and my lines didn't come together. So I can go back in and grab the extend tool and extend those lines over to where either make them longer altogether or where they meet up with another line. So I can go ahead and bring this up to here, and now I've got a closed shape, but I still have these little extensions sticking out of here. So I'm going to hit the trim tool, and it will automatically trim to the next place where something intersects it. So that's trim and extend. Pretty handy tool, kind of helps you fix some mistakes maybe you made. With the offset tool, what I can do with offset is as I go around, so let's say I wanted to make this so that it was kind of like an open box that doesn't have a top or bottom but just has walls, right? So I can go around and click all of these lines and it will automatically create another line, and notice how it extends those lines to meet the lines that are adjacent to it. So I can either do that to the inside or to the outside, doesn't really matter which. And then once I hit the enter key, it will automatically give me the place where I can type in, oh, I didn't want those 12 millimeters apart. I only wanted them 10 millimeters apart. And now I can extrude just this outer shape all the way up and make kind of like a wall situation. All right, so that's offset, trim, and extend. Let's talk about patterns. So let's say I'm creating something where I need like 10 holes going around the inside of this circle, and I've got one of them already drawn. Well, rather than draw 9 more and try to place them, there's a real handy tool for that, and that's circular patterns. So again, we're up here in this zone of the 3D tools, and down here we see linear pattern, but there's a drop down arrow next to it. So I'm going to grab the circular pattern from there, and what I get is it defaults to 3, and it defaults to it going all the way around. Now if I grab this arrow, and I'm not going to because I don't want to do that, that will change the how far around the circle I want it to go. So that's by degrees. So if I only wanted, let's say instead of wanting 10 all the way around, let's say I wanted 5 that just go 180 degrees. So I'm going to bring that down to where that's 180 degrees. I'm going to click that left mouse button, and then I'm going to double click on that 3, and I'm going to change that to 5. And so now I have 5 evenly spaced circles going around this larger circle. What about linear pattern? So linear pattern gives me a couple of options here. It's actually kind of nice. So in linear pattern, it's going to default to that I only wanted to go one way horizontally, and again 3. But let's say I wanted 4, right? And I actually wanted it across the top and the bottom. So I can go 2 and 4, and then I can grab these arrows and I can space them out. I can either, if I know what my distance is between them, I can type that in there now, or I can just do it kind of as I'm doing it right now, kind of visually, and pull those into places where I want it. So again, you can decide how many you want to cross, what the spacing is between them, or you can just do it kind of visually. And then it's telling me one more time, hey, left click that, and now they're all set. All right, so that's pattern, both linear and circular pattern. Let's talk about Revolve. So Revolve, again, it's generated by a sketch, but again, just like with Extrude, that sketch has to be closed. So let me go ahead and edit this sketch, and I'm going to throw a line right down the middle. So I'm going to go from there to here, and now when I go to Revolve, it's going to automatically assume that I want to revolve what I've already made. but it needs to know what axis to revolve around. So it's red, so I'm going to click on that to make it blue, and then let's go ahead and click the line that I just created. All right, so that creates a pretty interesting form. Now I can change that by, I can make it one directional, I can make it symmetrical where it goes, an equal 30 degrees in each way. I can also do two directions, so maybe one is going 30 degrees, one is going 330 to the 330 degree mark. So notice that it's where it ends as it goes around in a circle. So I can change those values. I can make this like, no, I want that to the 270 mark, and that's going to make that a little bit different. But for now, I want it full. But let me change that edge. What happens if I click this edge? What does that give me? Well, that gives me like an entirely different shape. So you can really do a lot with Revolve. It's really a pretty fun tool. So another way we could use Revolve, though, is it doesn't have to be a line that's necessarily a part of it. I can actually create another line. So I'm going to go back to Sketch. I'm going to edit this sketch, and I'm going to add in a line, but this time it's going to be a construction line. So it doesn't really exist as far as, a line that exists in space that's going to kind of occupy something. It's just kind of a construction line. We've been over this before. Now when I go through Revolve, I'm going to have that selected, but this time I'm going to grab that construction line. And what ends up happening is I end up with this hollow form with this hole in the middle because I wasn't revolving around itself. Really a fun tool to use is Revolve, I think. All right, so when we get into Plane has a lot, and Loft, they kind of go together. We have a lot of options. So from here, I can create one type of plane. So if I go to the plane tool, there's a number of different plane tools that we can use. I'm just going to go over, for right now, probably the three most likely for you to use. Offset plane, line angle plane, and mid plane. So let's first go over offset plane. So I can create an offset plane. Let me turn off these two planes because they're kind of in the way. I can create an offset plane right off of another plane. I can also create an offset plane off of the surface of an object. So let's go back here and we'll create a sketch on the top plane. Let me turn off these two planes. All right, turn that one back on. I guess I'm not on the top plane. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm just going to create I don't want a center point box. I want a corner rectangle. So I'm going to create a corner rectangle here, and then let's just go ahead and extrude it, and 25 millimeters is fine, right? Okay, so I've got this box right here, right? So what I can do is I can create a plane that is in the middle of this box. Let's go ahead and hit mid plane since it already came up. So I can select this whole, I have to select two planes for it to be in the middle of, and now you can see I have a mid plane, right? So let's go ahead and check that. Other planes that I can create. Let's go ahead and create an offset plane. So like I was saying before, I showed you how to create an offset plane off of a plane, but I can also select a surface of a part that I've already made. I can pull that up or down and create a plane that way. So now I have another plane. Oh, did I hit the red X? Oops. So I had another plane offset to this. All right, and then let's go ahead and create a line angle plane. We'll go back and create another offset plane in just a second. So if I create a line angle, all I need is a line. That could just be a sketch of a line on a plane. And then I can angle that plane. I can do it by degrees. Let's say it should be 60 degrees. And now it's asking me to select another plane, so it has something to reference to, no problem. Now I have a plane that is at an angle to my box, right? Let's go ahead and do another offset plane. And this time we will offset this plane, and we'll go up, say, to here, right? Take a look at that. Perfect. All right. So now we have this offset plane, the lying angle plane, we have a mid plane. How do we do a loft? Well, with the loft, we need either a sketch or some sort of shape relative. We need two of them. We need two sketches on differing planes. So I'm going to go ahead and select that last offset plane. I can either click on it in space, or I could come over here and click on it. And I'm going to create a circle, say that's kind of lined up somewhat to what I got below there, and go ahead and hit the check, go back to isometric. Now I love Loft. Loft has so many possibilities. So when I go to Loft, which is over here, what it needs is it needs two shapes to connect. And what Onshape will do is it will figure out the geometry that it needs to connect those two. So you can really get some crazy shapes going on here. Let me turn off those planes that we added in so you can see that we have some really crazy shapes. Now let's say, you're like, okay, but that's supposed to be open. All right, this gets us to our last tool I'm going to go over, and that is shell. So shell is right here, kind of in the middle of the tools. And the first thing it asks me is faces to remove. So let's say I want to remove that face and this face because I want it continuous all the way through. I want it open. Onshape will delete out all that space in between, and then I can tell it how thick I want the wall. Maybe I want the wall to be 3 millimeters, not 2.5. I could get rid of that one face that I deleted so that it's like kind of a bucket form. Maybe I want that one back, and it's this one I want to stay. So shell is an amazing tool. You can shell all kinds of forms. It will just apply a wall thickness. It'll just scoop out everything that's not something that you drew in, sketched in at whatever thickness that you prescribe. Very fun, very cool tool. All right, guys, I know I went a little bit fast, but I hope you enjoyed learning about these things and you're able to put them to good use. Don't forget to like and subscribe.